I'm very happy to receive three great speakers from the Brazilian coffee scene. First of all, we've got Marcos Matos from Café. He represents all the export of Brazilian coffee, specialty coffee, and he's going to talk about what they do as producers and exports of coffee in Brazil. And I'm sure he's got plenty of good things to tell to the French roasters and French buyers of green coffee. The second person that I've got here, speaker, is Vinicius, sorry about your name. He is the executive director of the Brazilian Specialty Coffee Association, which is a great scene for us. As you know, specialty coffee at the Paris Coffee Show is important to us. So we are very happy to receive the executive director of the Brazilian scene. And at last but not least, we've got Alain Botrel, who is also from the Specialty Coffee Association in Brazil, but he's a producer of coffee. Right. So we've got a good bunch of people representing the Brazilian market. We're going to go live, and we've got 15 minutes with our three speakers, and then we start officially with the next conference at 10:30. Thank you very much. Please, Alan, tell us about the specialty, Marcos, sorry. Tell us about the specialty coffee and what are you doing in Brazil at the moment?
Thank you very much. Good morning, all. That's a great pleasure to be here with you. I'd like to thank you, all the organizers, for this beautiful event in Paris during the 3 days. So I'm Marcos Matos. We are grateful for that moment, for that consideration, because Brazil is honored in this event. It's important to mention Brazil is the biggest producer, biggest exporter, the second consumer in the world. So Brazil exported to average 150 countries in the last year. Brazil has been investing a lot in sustainability for a long time, generating income, human progress in 34 producing regions in Brazil. That's important to mention with research, innovation, the adoption of the best agricultural practices. Brazil increased its productivity in 400%. 6 bags per hectare, 33 bags nowadays per hectares, and decrease the planted area in 55%, 4.9 million hectares to 2 million hectares in the last decades. That has been done while preserving the environment. Coffee in Brazil is not linked to deforestation. The farmers in Brazil, the percentage of preserved area, native forests, are above those required by law, the Brazilian National Forest Code. And coffee sector in Brazil is related to family agriculture. It's important to mention 78% of all farmers in Brazil. Brazil nowadays, according to our agricultural census, is 265,000 farmers. 72% are below 20 hectares. 78% access PRONAF. PRONAF is a rural credit focused for strengthening family agriculture. And the Human Development Index is very important to mention. It measures life expectancy, income, education. In Brazil, where coffee is planted, the Human Development Index is better. It's medium to high or very high. And there is a very positive correlations, planted area and that index. So it's according to official data. So the widespread consumption of Brazilian coffees around the world is an inducer of income, inducer of progress, and the human development. So that the main message for us demonstrate we are commitment, we are responsible for environment, for social laws, and we are responsible for income for farmers. That's our message, and thank you very much for that opportunity.
Well, thank you. It's good to clarify this because it's true that sometimes Brazil is associated with big countries, big producing, industrial. So it's very important to give that message on the French market that for Brazilian industry and producer, you've got small farmers and you are sustainable and you try and you progress every year to be more and more sustainable. So it's a great message, I think, for the French market. Thank you very much. Vilnius.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to discuss a little bit about the specialty coffee in Brazil. I'd like to say thank you for all the organizers of the event, but also for all the Brazilian delegates present here. We have very, very special producers and also institutions that are together to promote the Brazilian coffees in France. So a special thanks for the Brazilian Embassy, from the Rio Coffee Nation, Apex Brazil, Secafé, Sebrae, and also Cerrado Mineiro region. The development of specialty coffee in Brazil has a tremendous link with BSCA history. In the decade of 90s, the 12 producers create the BSCA with two main goals: to promote the specialty coffee in Brazil and also to certify and improve the quality of the coffee in Brazil, selling and exporting those coffees in better condition for the producers and presenting in a better way the Brazilian coffee in the market. So in all these 30 years, we create a huge market for specialty coffee in Brazil that represents around 15 of the whole Brazilian Arabica coffee producing in Brazil. And we have the opportunity to establish partnerships like with the Apex Brazil and creating the Brazil the Coffee Nation program. The program is dedicated to present the best producers and the best quality of the specialty coffee in the international market, creating the opportunity to those producers to present and trade their coffee in the market. But we also organize, as the Collectif Café, the Brazilian Championship of Barista, like that one that we are presenting here. You guys are presenting here, and select the Brazilian representative to the World Coffee Championship also, that has the opportunity to side by side with France to try to reach the best place in the world. So for those activities, promoting also the producers, but also the professionals, BSCA is committed with the high quality of the Brazilian coffee and to make the experience from the consumer the best as possible. So thank you very much for the opportunity to discuss a little bit about the specialty coffee and to present our best coffees here in Paris.
Right,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm guessing you've got good contact with the French Specialty Coffee Association too, which are present here today also. Okay, I have a good 3 days of Paris Coffee Show. Alan, what do you have to tell the French market? Tell us about as a producer Brazilian.
Bonjour à tous. As I would like to add a different point of view to this conversation, as I'm also a coffee grower in Brazil. But first of all, I would like to thank you all for this amazing opportunity to be part of the coffee scene in France, which is, again, I believe, for all of us. And for the same reasons that have been stated by Marcos and by Vinicius, Brazil has this very long trajectory in the coffee sector that made Brazil a leader in many aspects. And nowadays, I think we are facing new challenges in terms of sustainability, in terms of quality. And our main message to the French community, the coffee community in special, but even for French consumers, is that we are fully engaged and committed to elevate our standards in terms of quality and practices, because this has been the history, and Brazil has always been very engaged with coffee. So we are well positioned to evolve and to go in that direction.
Well, that's fantastic, because it's one of our main topics for the next 3 days. We will have a lot of, we will actually have 3 conferences on this theme, which is sustainable development in the coffee industry. So it's good to see that it's not only, of course, the French scene who is really absolutely aware of what's going on in the world, but also the Brazilian, which has, as you understood now, of course, one of the main producer or the main producer of coffee in the world. So everybody is working together towards the same goal, sustainability, which is a great goal, because we know with climate change, it's a very important topic. Thank you, the 3 of you. We stop here. We've got our next conference now. Enjoy your 3 days, and thank you again very much.